There were quite a number of them, the Mwacha Dam, in the Northern Collector, and all of them, Mr. Speaker, seem to have stalled. So when will we give Kenyans water in their homes? All these dams, the Thwake Dam was supposed to give water to Kitui, Machakos, and Makueni, even water for irrigation. When will this happen? And this is fertile land where farmers can grow a lot of food and can become the food basket of Kenya, and then can even sell abroad, because agriculture and agribusiness are one of the biggest businesses Kenyans can invest in, and every household has a meal every day and has some extra money to send children to school. Mr. Speaker, this matter of water must be taken very seriously by this House and by the government. We must have a proper law. We must actuate and make actual the delivery of water services to the people. We must make sure that the pending projects are completed. I am wondering why the Treasury is frustrating the Ministry of Water so much, why the Treasury is frustrating the counties so much. Why can't monies going to the counties be given priority so that the governors can prioritize on water? When you look at the Notresh water, which the Center for Narok was talking about, it comes from somewhere Mount Kilimanjaro. For many years, it went to water flowers of individuals. And then the moment it was supplied to the communities around Kajiado and Makueni, then it became another big problem. And corruption, serious corruption, have riddled these water companies. There are as many corrupt officials as you can get. There is no capacity even to try them. ESCC does not seem to have a capacity to deal with this. And even the police does not seem to have capacity to deal with the corruption in water services company. It is a high time Kenyans became responsible where they work, where they deal with water, so that there's no stealing, and the money is collected. I want to finish on this. The money is collected. If you can have a system, like an M-Pesa system, pay bill system, then all these monies will be collected into one place, and the account can be seen and can be accounted for, and the counties can make sure it is accountable. We need to invest in that so that we have enough monies to continue investing in water. And I really want to urge that let Treasury release monies related to Thwake, release monies to the counties, and let's give people clean water in the country so that we can have a healthy nation, and we can use it to do agriculture, and we can use it to grow the nation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Abbas Sheikh Mohammed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to also join the other members to support the report. Honorable Speaker, I think the report, I want to commend the committee first for the excellent work they have done, because visiting 80 water companies is not an easy thing for knowing the resources that is available to this county, this Senate. Honorable Speaker, water is actually a very crucial resource that is life. Kenya has actually plenty of water, but always scarce to be utilized by people or accessed by people. Honorable Speaker, Kenya also has the highest number of institutions that manages water. We have almost 12 water works, 9 other regional developments, all and the companies on every county that manages water, but water is never available at a given time on demand. And I think it's just purely on lack of management and lack of transparency. Honorable Speaker, the water companies in the counties are actually almost not functional, most of them, especially my county, Wajir Wasco is actually getting resources from World Bank, is getting money from the counties, but of course, the counties are not even, the water company is not even able to pay itself for some times now, and even up to 200 staff were laid off, and to date, they have not been paid their dues for almost 5 months they worked, and whatever, any other gratitude. However, until some of them went to court, and it's only this week some payment has been done, About 7 of them have been paid for 4 months, and the rest have not been paid. And that much the county is actually, the Wajir Wasco is actually in obsolete, I mean they're in need of money. Still the money is available from the World Bank. It is there for the council also supporting, but because it's not well managed, that resources are not well managed, and at the same time, one other thing is the county, I mean the company is actually experiencing issues to do with resource generation. Wajir doesn't have a pumped water source. There's no rivers, it's landlocked. It depends. Wajir depends on boreholes, the groundwater. We have about 600, currently 600 boreholes. And these boreholes have been managed by communities in different parts of the county. Boreholes have been run by community committees. It has now become a cash cow for the communities. Instead of paying money now to the Wajir Wasco, the communities are not ready to give back the boreholes to be managed by the counties. Honorable Speaker, I think the most important thing now is that my committee, the Committee of Devolution now, water is actually a devolved function. But the problem is that of the 9 water agencies and many regional, I think there are about 4, like Victoria, Tana water, and the Coast Water, all these guys don't want to release these institutions back to the counties. I think it's the high time that this House must be able to support the counties so that at least these functions can go back to, be taken back to the counties. One other thing is, Honorable Speaker, most of these companies have, 9 entities actually, most of them are not even registered. Some of them they don't have legal status, and they cannot be operating officially, legally. And the way it is being run, even appointments are done by the governors. The boards have been appointed by the governors, and actually most of these companies are supposed to be independent from the county management. So the county executive, but is still micromanaging it, and they do all the appointments, and therefore that is, I think, the causes as to why the companies are not functioning well. One other thing is, Mr. Honorable Speaker, the money being received from donors are not being actually audited. And I think that's why the CP guys need to go at least in depth on auditing the Auditor General to audit these companies, so at least we can be able to know how they manage their resources. Most of them don't even have their own generated own source funds. The money is not actually even accounted for. So it's the high time that, because the World Bank or the counties cannot be able to manage the water companies for the people of the respective counties. So we need, so that they can be able to, status shall be done. They should have, these companies must be registered and must have shareholders, so at least they can be able to generate their own funds. Because a limited company cannot be having its own, be depending on resources from the counties and the World Bank and all these other NGOs and other donors. One other thing, Honorable Speaker, I think there's also duplication of works. The company is working there. The company is supposed to take over water resources and water management. We have also the Department of Water in the same counties. We're also equally doing the same businesses. So I think we need to have, to divide the responsibility for these two institutions, and then these other companies, these other regional water works and water agencies should be revolved eventually. And this is actually what we are now doing. We're meeting with all the stakeholders, I think in the course of the next month, so that we will be able to devolve these functions back to the counties. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Beatrice Ogola.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you, and I want to support this motion and particularly applaud the leadership of this committee, Honorable Speaker. This committee is led by the very able Deputy Party Leader of the ODM party, Senator Geoffrey Atieno Ososi, who has a future also elsewhere out of this Senate. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, water is life. In the SDG 6 talks about clean water and sanitation, Honorable Speaker. And we all know the relationship of clean water to health. We know the relationship of water to food. We all know the real critical space that the availability of water played in this country when we had the disastrous COVID, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, water remains a basic need of all of us. And that is why the provision of water is so critical to this nation, Honorable Speaker. There's the 9 reports of water companies of Busia, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kirinyaga, Kilifi, Mandera, Migori, Mombasa, Laikipia, and Tharaka Nithi, Honorable Speaker. But the obstacles that we continue to meet in this sector remains uniform in all the counties, Honorable Speaker. In the report, Honorable Speaker, the committee makes reference to aging infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, I was lucky to have served as a CEM of water for some 6 months in Homa Bay County during some transition as we are going for the 2017 election in Homa Bay County. I was then the CEC of lands, but had the privilege to serve as CEC of water for some 6 months. And Honorable Speaker, all the challenges that this committee talks about are challenges that I encountered when I had that short stint as the water CEC. Honorable Speaker, the infrastructure that our counties have, especially in the municipalities, in the county headquarters of the county, remain the same infrastructure that has been there for all the time that those towns have been there. In particular, in Homa Bay Town and Homa Bay Municipality, we have an aging infrastructure. Despite the growth that has been there, then it means, Honorable Speaker, that this infrastructure cannot consistently and sufficiently serve this growing population in the town. So as much as the Lake Victoria South Water Board has dealt with, through development partners, has dealt with the availability, the supply of water. Honorable Speaker, if the counties or the companies do not get funds to deal with the distribution lines, with expanse distribution lines that can serve this population, then the issue of access to water by our people remains a pipe dream. And that is often why this water system breaks down, because if it's going to be pushed to pump water to all the areas of the towns or the catchment areas, the infrastructure that is available is not able to do so. So, Honorable Speaker, the county governments or the boards and all the funders or the development partners must, as a priority, deal with the rehabilitation of the distribution lines of our water system. Honorable Speaker, along the aging infrastructure, we also have corrupt practices within these jurisdictions. Honorable Speaker, there's the mention of illegal connections. And Honorable Speaker, when you reflect at all our urban centers, you often see the thriving business of water tankers. It is right to believe, Honorable Speaker, that most of the people dealing with the water tankers or the water boosters are also people within the water sector. And Honorable Speaker, then it means that they are able to cause inadequacies in the provisions of water so that they are able to make their businesses thrive, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, water remains a basic need. And as a country and as the world as enshrined in SDG 7, everybody should be able to access water as a basic need. Honorable Speaker, the report also mentions the high operating costs, and Honorable Speaker, this is a setback to the realization of a water supply in most of our companies. Honorable Speaker, most of the companies and the municipalities as we have still rely on electricity as a source of power. And a number of the companies are not able to pay their electricity bills. And so you have a lot of interruptions in the provisions of water in our municipality. Honorable Speaker, there's also a mention of governance. Honorable Speaker, in most of the companies, this is a menace that in providing water, this system, these provisions must be managed by competent people that are appointed, Honorable Speaker. We urge our governors that oversee these companies that go ahead and appoint people who can actually manage these water companies. The water companies must not only be limited to employment bureaus in our municipality. Honorable Speaker, I must also mention that our county bosses or the managers of the counties must also work on physical planning of the towns, because the physical plans enable the water system to be realigned to the urban centers. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, I also want to mention that water provision must not only be limited to the urban space, that everybody in this republic deserve the provision of water. So our counties, as they focus on water provision in urban centers, we must also enhance access to water in our rural areas. Honorable Speaker, in my own sub-county headquarters, that is Ndiwa Town, as we talk, we have no water. And yet, the Lake Victoria South Water Services had invested in a borehole in Ndiwa Town that is capable of serving the whole town and the environs, that is not limited to 1 or 2 wards in that sub-county. But what is happening, Honorable Speaker? The borehole is available, water is available, but distribution, all the lines are destroyed, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I've raised this with the Water Ministry and the Water Secretary, but all have been told is that the county government of Homa Bay should look at the rehabilitation of this distribution line. And I call upon our county government of Homa Bay, look at the rehabilitation of the distribution line of the main water supply of Ndiwa Town so that the people of Ndiwa can be served. Honorable Speaker, we know that water plays a role. Water is related to health, as I've said, to food, and even to security. Honorable Speaker, in this country, we've had situations where we have floods when there rains. And yet we see that our government is not able to harvest this water in time so that it can solve the scarcity of water at times of drought. So rightly, we walk from drought, and then we run into drought. And we see how drought is related to lack of food and security. Honorable Speaker, I live and I support this motion. I want to urge Kenyans that Kenyans, let us go for courses that will serve the water sector. The water sector is able to give a solution to the unemployment situation we have in this country. Honorable Speaker, this country will lack adequate plumbers, we lack adequate water engineers, and this can be solved by our people, our Form 4s that leave school, going for artisan courses, going to the Kewi school. The Kewi school is sufficient enough to train skilled manpower for this sector. Honorable Speaker, I support.
Thank you. Senator William Kisang.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also arise to support this motion and also admit that I'm also a member of this particular committee and thank the last Senate 2017-2022, Honorable Speaker, because in its own wisdom, they saw the need to split the oversight committees into two. Otherwise, the special funds and the water companies, Honorable Speaker, would not have been audited by this particular House, Honorable Speaker. And I want to thank also my chair, who is the deputy party leader of ODM. I know he's really leading the committee very well. And I've also told him 2027 is likely to come and face us, so he needs to do a good job. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as a committee, as we went through the reports, the audited reports, Honorable Speaker, generally, one of the issues that we noted was weak management structures in the water companies, governance issues, Honorable Speaker, especially most of the water service providers didn't have competent boards, and some of them, if they had boards, Honorable Speaker, they thought they were independent from the county governments. They didn't say, they thought they don't have to report to the governor, to the CEC Water and CEC Finance, Honorable Speaker, but at least our committee has been able to bring things to order, and now generally most of the companies are run well, and we believe in the next audits, especially 2024-25 going forward, Honorable Speaker, some of these books will have unqualified accounts, Honorable Speaker, because all of them were either qualified, disclaimer accounts, Honorable Speaker. So we've done a good job, and I believe soon they are going to see, we'll see the benefits of this particular committee in these particular water service providers, Honorable Speaker. What we want to urge our governors is to ensure they employ competent CEOs, competent board members, so that they can drive the companies well, Honorable Speaker, because those are the issues, the weaknesses that we saw. And basically, you had Senator for Wajir, Honorable Speaker, that some of the boreholes within the communities, they are run by an association, and the associations have even refused to cede management of these boreholes to the water companies. So basically, they are run as a club, and they don't pay. They just maybe charge a flat rate from the water users, and sometimes the water is not even enough, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what we also saw as a big, serious issue is what we call non-revenue water, Honorable Speaker. You know, the standard loss is about 25%, but majority of the water service providers were way above, some even up to 72%. I think it is only one or two counties, Nyeri and I think one more, were below the recommended loss of 25%, Honorable Speaker. But the other 70, 60, so basically it means you're losing more than half, more than 3/4 of what the water that goes to the pipes, Honorable Speaker. And there are two types of loss. There is a physical loss, basically because of the state of the pipes, and there is the commercial loss. The commercial loss, Honorable Speaker, is the water is already in the pipe. There are no losses through the pipes, but basically they don't peel the water that has been used by the users, or cartels divert the water, they cut the water and sell directly to the water users. It's like what the Senator for Nairobi had said, Honorable Speaker. Generally, Nairobi Water Company should not be getting any support from Nairobi County government. It should be getting support, it should be self-sufficient, because we need water. You go to Karen, Honorable Speaker, almost every day, pipes are passed everywhere. They don't have any means to detect if there are any leakages within the pipeline, Honorable Speaker. So governors have shouldered. If county governments were not the Honorable Speaker, most of these water service providers basically would have closed because they all get support from the counties in terms of to ensure they are able to pay salaries, they are able to pay electricity bills. Otherwise, Kenya Power would have basically closed most of them long time ago, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, it's also important that we encourage them to get smart meters. They need to get detectors so that if there are leakages, they are detected quickly, Honorable Speaker. Recently, I think they partnered also with National Police Service, where we have what we call water policing. The water police officers are supposed to help and assist the water service providers to detect where there are illegal connections so that they don't lose water, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, is in terms of water, in terms of the regional bodies, we have 9 of them. But imagine, Honorable Speaker, some of these water regional agencies take loans on behalf of water service providers, and the water service providers don't know. They just find themselves, there's a loan here, they were not involved, they didn't negotiate, a visibility study of the water projects were not done through them, so they just see loans and people are coming to the regions that there is a project that is coming up. Honorable Speaker, I know most of my colleagues also want to contribute. I just wanted to put the last comment. The last comment is there is an issue in terms of property. There are some plans, vehicles, equipment, and even the land where some of the water service providers are domiciled, Honorable Speaker, and they don't have the titles. They don't have logbooks for the vehicles, Honorable Speaker. They are still within the regional bodies. And we have given intergovernmental agency, we have given the counties, the governors, and regional bodies, Honorable Speaker, to ensure within a certain period of time, the assets that belong to the water service providers should be handed over to them so that it improves their balance sheet, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know in areas like Elgeyo Marakwet County, it's a young county. Basically, we have a few small water service providers, and they are still struggling. I believe the agencies within that region and the county government will assist them. What will help mostly, Honorable Speaker, along Kerio Valley, we have conflict as communities because of water. I believe if water is managed very well, basically even inter-clan or inter-community conflict because of pasture, because of water, will be reduced if, Honorable Speaker, our governors sit down and they ensure our people get clean water across the counties. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to say much so that I cede time to my colleagues. I support and I support.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Hamida Kibwana.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support this motion, and I commend my very able chairman, our deputy party leader, ODM, for the good work that he has been doing so far. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to note for very few minutes just the cross-cutting points. The cross-cutting, actually, I was looking at the audit report, which was considered by the team. The companies, the water companies, Mr. Speaker, have taken loans, some of them, due to develop infrastructure for big dams. But they end up not being able to do it. The big dams that, the funding was, they got the funds for the big dams, but then they did not consult, actually, the counties. So you may find that they expect the counties to pay for the services, but then the issue also is the last mile connectivity that has not been developed, actually, when doing a large dam. Now, a large dam without last mile connectivity, Mr. Speaker, does not work, I think, very well. And then the counties are expected to pay off. Mr. Speaker, when assets are developed with the water companies, they retain the assets, but do not transfer liabilities. But transfer liabilities to the county. So you find counties are overwhelmed with monies, you know, or fundings to be paid, and yet this is a challenge for financial statement to the water companies, to counties. Mr. Speaker, also I remember the Auditor General was able to see the liabilities but no corresponding assets to the water companies. Mr. Speaker, this becomes a big issue and a problem to the water companies to give a fair, correct view of the financial position. Each time we are always, you know, we are always having issues with the water companies that they cannot account for the financial position. And to some extent, it's an indication that the national government is not ready, Mr. Speaker, to take care of those functions. The other challenge, Mr. Speaker, is that the counties do not have the co-ownership, actually, arrangements between the water companies, the water companies and the national, at the national level and the county level. That one is also an issue. Mr. Speaker, the non-revenue has also been mentioned, the non-revenue water. It is, Mr. Speaker, a thorn in the flesh. They blame the old piping system, breakages, illegal connections, you know, many other issues. But I think water companies need to invest on this one. And they do need to invest in new technologies to detect leakages, like the upgrading the pipes and also the smart meters, Mr. Speaker. We need to embrace the smart meters to tackle the commercial losses through the interfering of the meters. We always have people reconnecting and doing all sorts of issues. And that's why actually the counties go at a loss. There's some counties, Mr. Speaker, I related, they have multiple water companies. For example, Machakos have 6 or 7 companies, water companies. Kiambu, you recall, it has about 8 water companies. That is a challenge, Mr. Speaker, because most of the water companies are not economical viable. One last thing, Mr. Speaker, is oversighting and management is quite difficult on this one. The recommendation is to bring down the water companies to a number that is easy to manage, Mr. Speaker. One, but not the least, Mr. Speaker, is I remember the areas of shortness of water supply. You find like Gusii are sharing, Gusii and Nyamira are sharing, you know, that they are co-owning within the county. So you have the shortness of water, adequate supply, inadequate supply of water. Then other places you find adequate supply but no infrastructure in the water system. Replacements of the pipes, Mr. Speaker, put the companies in a very awkward position. Now, my last kick, Mr. Speaker, is that the committee, I remember, recommended that to decluster such arrangements so that each county to have its own service provider. Mr. Speaker, I know someone else needs to speak, so I want to yield my time for him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Hilary Sigei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to appreciate Senator Hamida for according me the remaining 10 minutes or so of the session, Mr. Speaker, so that I also comment on the motion. And I want to also appreciate the chairperson of this committee.
Welcome to the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, or KDIC, a state corporation established under the KDI Act Cap 487C. KDIC, safer, stronger, together.